Well, good evening,
Harvey, you're not a host.
All right.
good evening, everybody, and welcome to our March meeting. If Pastor McNary is on the line, he can lead us in prayer. If not, do I have Harvey? Why don't you lead us in prayer?
Sure. Father God, we thank you for this time of fellowship, Lord. We thank you for clarity and understanding and continued participation in our meetings, that all may go well, and we will feel that this is productive as we leave for the day. Thank you.
All righty, thank you for that. Is anyone from the fire here? Chief Jones, are you on? Anybody representing fire? Okay, anybody representing the police? Okay, they might be running a little late. Ms. Warren, we're gonna go ahead and get started with you, but before we do, Andy is on the line from representing Crown Castle listening in, and I'm sure we'll have a discussion during your presentation about that project. So if you notice on the agenda, I have Baker, Donaldson, Bierman, and Caldwell under development. There won't be a presentation from them, but if they want to chime in with the discussion that Ms. Warren will have, they are welcome to do so. So with that, Ms. Warren, you want to go ahead and get started?
I can. Good evening, everybody. I almost said good morning. Please forgive me. Thank you guys for having me in March. We are getting ready for spring, and as that comes, we know that students are getting some of their angst out. So if you're a parent on here, a couple of things, please make sure that you check your child's phone and or take your child's phone, and for them to be ready for upcoming milestones and Georgia in the course test. I really want to speak tonight about, there has been lots of the conversation about the cell phone towers. I want to start the conversation with, I don't have a opinion either way on if it's built or not. But when I came on the call earlier this week, Miss Debbie, was that on Tuesday or Monday?
Monday.
It was on Monday. Okay. I came on and there was already a presentation happening, and I asked two clarifying questions because the conversation was about the district not allowing whoever or the cell phone tower in the district. And so what I did from that night, and I looped Miss Debbie in, is I emailed our operations people, because before I spoke about something, I want to make sure that I have specific details so people can make informed decisions. So again, this is not me trying to sway a vote on anything, but this is the information that we have uncovered. So a couple of things. Our lease renewal discussions with Crown Castle started in early January 2019. This was 11 months before the lease was to expire, okay? There were 25 instances regarding the cell phone tower release and its renewal. That means that we had conversations back and forth, emails, phone calls, and the most recent of those discussions took place on February 27th, 2024. In August of 2019, Crown Castle proposed terms outside of Fulton County Schools requirements. And Ms. Debbie, I'm going to send you this in a second. I just didn't want to go from my screen. Negotiations continued. And so the initial proposal, there were agreements that were set upon. When it was time to renegotiate, Fulton County, Crown Castle offered, they wanted different terms. The negotiations continued, and essentially Crown Castle and Fulton County agreed to disagree. We could not come to mutually acceptable terms and decided that Crown Castle will continue the lease in a holdover. What that means is, and I'm sure there are more detailed explanations of this, but what that means is that the tower is there and you still have to pay for it, okay? Because the lease was up, and I don't have the exact number. Well, I do, hold on. The expiration date of the cell phone tower was November 29th, 2019, okay? The monthly payments were $3,271.73. That does not mean, and currently the monthly payments are $3,176. That money does not go to the school. We have cell phone towers throughout the district, and the cell phone tower money goes to our operating fund, okay? So once we couldn't reach a deal, because the tower is still on there, they still pay us. I asked specifically for our team, I said, this is an issue of people wanting better cell phone service. Are they able to change the structure or beautify or make it better so there can be better cell phone service? What I was told was they would have to get any improvements agreed upon with Fulton County Schools, okay? There is also another lease at Westlake. That lease at Westlake has been on since, it has been renewed 4 times. 1, 2, 3, we're in the 4th term, and it expires in 2027. One of the things that I've told Miss Deborah, and I've spoken to Councilwoman Rowell about is, as a district and as sure as the contract, the cell phone tower, we're a business. We educate children, but we also run a business. And so one of the things that I talked to Miss Debbie about was I'm sure the cell phone company wants to get this variance and do these things, but as a district, we have terms on the contract. And while we're amendable to seeing if we can come to a place, we are not able to just let anything fly. And I wanted to start with that because when we were on the call on Monday, people had several questions. There was a concern that if the money stops at A. Philip Randolph, something's going to happen to the school. The school has a big budget. They are fine. The money that they get on that is extra. It doesn't even go to them. So I wanted to be sure that I came with those facts about the conversations. Since there has been a conversation as late as February 27th, 2024, my hope is that depending on how the council votes, they can continue to have conversations. But our position is that we had an initial contract, and in order for us to go to the next phase or the next phase in the contract or the next term agreement, there has to be some type of agreement on there. And so this again is not to say that it should or should not, but I just wanted to make sure on the Fulton County end that we have been very clear about what we believe to be true. I also wanted to make a point. There was somebody on here, not on here, but on Monday, that asked about why the lease was expired. The lease was negotiated to expire on 11/29/2019. So it has been expired for several years. It's just been in holdover status since that date. And so I know there has been conversations between Crown Castle and Fulton County Schools with our land management people. And so I think those conversations may continue, they may not, but that's just an FYI for the community. And I'll pause for that, Ms. Debbie, and see if anybody has any questions. And I will shoot you the email, Ms. Debbie, so you can have this for your records, okay?
Okay. Are there any questions about what Ms. Warren has shared with us? Does anybody have any questions?
Deborah, it's Andy. Let me just say thank you to Ms. Warren for getting that information. Much of that is similar information that I have garnered since the Monday call. Our records show that we initially reached out to renew the lease back on October 4th of 2017, but they were held off until 2019. But I think pretty much you kind of say it, we had certain terms that we could agree to. School board had different terms to which it needed to agree to. And just like any businesses, if you can't come to terms, you got to move on. That's not to say we can't try again, but we're moving forward with the other site because we don't want coverage to be lost in the neighborhood. And you're right, Crown, I think, has at least one other lease with the school board. So I think the relationship is still good. I just don't think we were able to come to terms on this particular one.
Yeah, and I think that's indicative of the 25 times that we've had conversations. So for the residents who've reached out, I don't have a yay or nay. Like you said, we're both businesses. One educates children, one's in another entity. But I think that I sent you guys the conversations, Ms. Debbie, in case someone else has a question or whatnot, and just go from there.
All righty. Well, at the end of the day, for me, my opinion is I would like to see the money stay with the school. Any amount of money going into the general fund is helping Fulton County schools. So for me, I would like to, hopefully an agreement could be made, and I don't know if it's too late for that. But also is that Crown is looking for a variance on that property in order to put that tower there. And so the community has to decide if they're going to support that variance to make it happen, because we do need cell phone coverage. That was the beginning of the conversation back in February, which is what prompted me to go to Fulton County Schools to see if we can expand coverage. Just this whole situation with Crown just kind of came up, and not knowing that was going on. So we do need coverage. I guess my other question is, we do have a tower at Westlake. It is not, and Ms. Warren, you can correct me, it's a different company than Crown Castle that has that one.
Westlake, yes, it's not Crown Castle that is on that, as far as I can see. Let me make sure before I misspeak though.
Is there one on at Sandtown Middle School?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay,
And we have cell phone towers throughout the district, north, south,
okay,
all over.
okay.
I think Crown has several sites. I'm not sure if they have one on Westlake, but I know they have multiple sites on school properties.
Yeah, yeah. So at the end of the day, the community needs to decide if we're gonna support the variance. It sounds like Crown wants to move forward. So if anybody has an opinion, feel free to jump in and have a conversation. Otherwise, we will move on.
Hello.
Hello, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Mark Seymour. I'm a resident of the community as well. Just wanted to say good evening to everyone before I got started.
Good evening. Welcome.
I just wanted to ask any representatives from the company. I believe it's Crown. I just tuned in a little late and I missed the other night's broadcast. But what makes this area so attractive, and how, in comparison to other communities, are these type of towers? Are they being put up in other communities?
Yeah, Mark, thanks for the question. My name's Andy. I represent Crown Castle. The answer is yes. I mean, if you're going to have cell phone coverage, you've got to have these towers. So these towers are all over Atlanta. The reason this tower is here is to provide coverage in this neighborhood. There currently is a tower at the Randolph Elementary School that is set to come down, therefore coverage will be lost. The proposal that's coming before the city council is to relieve a condition on a piece of property that would allow a cell tower to be built there to replace the one at Randolph Elementary.
Okay, understood. But as far as that, and I meant as far as communities like maybe neighboring, what would you call those? Towns, I guess. I'm sorry for the lack of what to call it, but just I also worry about like safety as well for like, you know, later generations. How would this affect us? I know we need cell phone coverage, but technology is ever changing. And our help will always be a necessity. So I don't know if like cell phone towers will even be a necessity in the next 10 years, but what will be the impact on our health in the next 10 years?
Mark, there is none, and I made available, and we sent out through email, and Deborah, you may have those if you can forward them to Mark. We included information from the FCC and the FDA, federal agencies that regulate this, the health side of it. And we've also provided some additional information. These are non-ionizing radio signals. They're not microwaves. They're not X-rays. They're none of those things that are typically associated with possible negative health effects. These are just radio signals. Your cell phone is a radio talking to the cell tower antennas so that your call can be received and go out. As far as towers, I can share if I have control. Let me try and share my screen. Let's see.
And Andy, while you're doing that, Mr. Seymour, on our call in February, we had a lot of residents complain about the dropping of their calls in their homes because the area is growing as quickly as fast as it is, and the AT&T and a lot of the carriers are saying the reason why there are a lot of drop calls within their homes and so forth is because there is not enough coverage in this area and the growth that we are experiencing. So that's where it all started. And the conversation started with reaching out to the Fulton County to see if there's an opportunity to put cell towers on their property, because they do that throughout the county. And that's how we got started with this. And then Crown came in because they have to have a variance and notify the community. And that's how we got to this point. So the need for coverage is here in our community. Is greatly needed because a lot of people are having problems with coverage. Just to give you a history. Go ahead, Andy, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. And you're exactly right. Mark, I'm showing a Google Earth map, and all these orange pins are existing cell towers. These two yellow pins right down here
Yes, sir.
are the proposed site and the existing site. They're only about 1,500 feet apart, but you can see just heading up, I mean, this is 285, you can see where there's towers everywhere, but you can see also as you zoom in here, there's only one up here on New Hope Road, but you got all these residences that are being covered by this existing tower now that when this goes down will go away. And that's what we're trying to preserve by moving the tower to this new location.
Understood. And
And
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, after you, I was gonna probably be a little lengthy, so after you.
I was just gonna say the one that he pointed out off of New Hope Road, there's a church on New Hope Road, right there, and that cell tower sits behind that church. I don't know if you noticed it, but that's where that cell tower is.
Right. Understood. Yeah. And like I said, I guess I'm just concerned about health safety for the future. And as well, we hear the rhetoric about cell phones not being safe and putting them close to our ears, and also too, I would like if they're only radio communication and radio devices. I've never seen FCC debunk those type of statements that were being pushed. So all of that to me is connected. I love my cell phone, I love everything, but there are also rises and levels of health issues in our communities due to stuff like that. And I just want to know, like in the future, like how that would affect. But I guess FCC knows best, and I would hope that in the future with this, we wouldn't regret this coming and building even more towers in the community, because we've been here for maybe the past 15 years. 20 years, I had probably every cell phone company staying in that same home. It's never gotten better. I've switched in between all three. So hopefully that the extension of this tower will help that, but I hope we don't pay for it in the long run.
I have a couple comments. The tower that's there at the school now only services T-Mobile. And some of the folks that we knew 12, 15 years ago, we'd gone to AT&T to put a tower in initially at Sandtown Park. Now, this new tower that they would like to build initially starts out with T-Mobile, but people that have Verizon and AT&T are going to benefit. And I imagine based on the maps I've seen, their service is marginal. Like I said, we talked about a dozen years about it, and at the time, we were with AT&T, and the cell signal and coverage was so bad in our house that we had to get one of those repeaters that you would plug into your internet connection, your Cat5 cable, and
Exactly.
that would broadcast within the house.
Mr. Davis, you're exactly right about the tower. So the tower at the school now does not have space on it to add AT&T and Verizon. By being able to build the new tower, it will allow space for AT&T and Verizon to get coverage there. So that, you're right, that would hopefully benefit a lot more people.
Juanita, you had your hand up?
Good evening, Deborah. I did. I wanted to say thank you for the platform tonight to be able to speak and discuss this. And I'd like to speak on the fact that I would like to see us continue to keep the tower at the school, upgrade the tower at the school that it will service all three networks. That's my best case scenario. I think that would satisfy everyone in the community as well as Crown Castle.
Of course, the challenge is Crown Castle and the school board are at a stalemate. After
Well, I know
25
that, but I would like for them to go back to the table because they seem to have an agreement and understanding all the other schools. So whatever agreement that they have at the other schools that's keeping them from having the same agreement at this school is it bewilders me. I don't understand why you can't come to an agreement with this school when you got an agreement with all the rest of them.
Well,
And that's for them to
the-
discuss, but I'm just sharing. I'm sorry. Is the representative on the phone, Harvey?
yes. He was
Okay,
just
we'll allow
speaking.
them to speak if you would. But that's what I would like to see. If you could elaborate on that, Mr. And
Well, contracts are
Nothing to
site-specific.
really elaborate on. I mean, you know, we tried and the school board tried and we couldn't get there. So we're trying to come up with a solution so coverage doesn't go away. If
what can you share with me? What was the difference between this one school and all the other schools that you could come to an agreement with and not this one?
well, those other agreements were done years ago like this one does, and they'll be coming up for renewal as well. And if we're able to get together on those, we would like to stay. But if we can't, we'll probably move off of those as well.
Is it possible to share what is the disagreement that seems to be changing the contracts that you already have?
I think Ms. Warren had a lot of information on that. I think it was price. I mean, there's a certain amount that we can pay based on the revenue we're getting, and we can't pay more than we're receiving. So we can't make it work. It's a business, like Ms. Warren said.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The gentleman that was speaking before, oh, I forget his name. If he can put his email in the chat, I'll gladly forward all the documents that Andy shared with us on Monday. And if he could put that information in the chat, I'll do that. Do we have any other comments?
I will put that in. I'm in the process of doing that now, but also one would like to see those FCC statements as well about safety and
Yeah, those,
safety of
yes, there are
the
5
community as
documents.
well. They're inside the
Yeah,
documents already.
Yes,
yeah,
they shared 5
there's about
documents with
5 of
us.
them, and it's got the FCC exposure guidelines, the FDA radio frequency. Um, it's got, it's got a lot of information, so I will share that. Just let me know when you put it in the chat and I'll be glad to send it to
Okay.
you. Okay.
All right.
Deborah,
Thank
thank you for letting me speak tonight. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you for joining us, Andy.
Yes, ma'am. You guys have a
Uh,
good evening.
Thank
too.
you. All righty. I think police is on the line. Officer Rogers, are you there? I forwarded you the link again.
Good evening, Ms. Davis, and good evening all. I am here.
Oh, wonderful. Well, go ahead. Before you do that, Ms. Warren, thank you very much for all the research that you have done on this particular project. I appreciate your effort.
Yes, ma'am. And I just forwarded you the document with the details. So you guys
Okay.
let me know if you need anything else.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Are
you.
there any other questions for Ms. Warren about the schools or anything else? What's going on? I think she kind of gave an overview of what's happening in the school. Springtime, springtime. All righty. All right, Officer Rogers, you're up.
All right. First of all, good evening again. Thank you all for having me. I have been recently reassigned back to our community policing division, so I will be one of your community officers and community liaisons whenever you have any issues or any problems. So first, let me give you all my phone number, and if you have any immediate problems outside of an emergency, then feel free to give me a call. My number is 404-345-4751. That's 404-345-4751. And I will put that in the chat as well as my email address. Okay. Just let me briefly update you on some of the things that we have coming very soon. First, I am excited to announce our bicycle unit that we're putting in place. I'm actually in the process of getting our bicycle unit together now. So you will see a lot of presence in your business areas where we have a lot of vehicle break-ins and things of that sort. These officers will be deployed in those shopping plazas, your plaza at Campbellton and Camp Creek, Cascade Corridor, and so forth, just to give us that presence and hopes to deter some of these vehicle break-ins. Especially, the summer is approaching, springtime is approaching, and some of these crimes tend to start to rise again. They will also be in the communities, riding through the communities, and we're all about trying to get in touch with our residents now, and we like to hear from our residents in our communities. So you'll see those cyclists in your communities as well. There are some other initiatives that I'm trying to bring to where I know you guys are familiar with the coffee with the cup that we hold sometimes at different venues and whatnot. Well, I would like to bring some of those to our communities, and where the community can actually come out of their front door and walk up the street rather than having to drive to a specific location. And again, it's just to sit down, listen to what you all have to say in an effort for us to collaborate and make things better in your community. We are steadily hiring. We're steadily hiring officers now. We're almost at 200, and the chief goal is to get up to 350 officers. So we are steadily hiring our patrol division. Each shift now is up to about between 12 and 14 officers, which is really good. So you should start to see a reduction you should start to see a reduction in your response times. I know in the past there have been concerns with response times and things of that sort. So you should start to see a reduction in your response time. Now, some of you may be aware that
Valerie,
I am eating it, but
Valerie?
I've never liked strawberry. You know that. No, it's
Go ahead,
Okay.
officer.
all right.
Thank you.
Yes, and some of you are aware that there was a ransomware attack on Fulton County, and that kind of interrupted the way that we receive our calls for dispatch. So if any of you have experienced here over the past month where you've actually called 911 and the response time was a little bit lengthy, it's due to this ransomware attack, and that system is almost up and running. So they're having to do a lot of things manually as well as us. We're operating manually to a certain extent to where we're having to actually handwrite reports again, and the 911 systems are having to physically write these calls down now before they're dispatched. So it may be a delay in dispatching some of the calls that are not a high priority. But again, that too shall pass, and it is about to be wrapped up to where we'll be back to 100% functioning as it relates to our 911 calls and things of that sort. You know, we have a new deputy chief, and he's also all about community engagement. So there are a lot of things that are forthcoming. I'm very excited, and just look forward to what 2024 is going to bring as it relates to the police department and the communities that we serve. Looking at your crime stats, and I don't have them here in front of me, but we did have our weekly comp stat meeting, and District 1 and District 2, both of your districts look good. We still just, we have those petty thefts or crimes where people are entering autos and whatnot. But again, I know that a lot of you I've spoken to over the years, and I've always made sure that I reiterated the importance of not leaving valuables and things of that sort into your vehicles. So just continue to do that. And just remember, if you ever see any suspicious activity or suspicious persons walking through your communities, to give us a call. Fulton County schools will be out Monday and Tuesday for Teachers Workday, which means that we tend to see vehicle break-ins spike a little bit, especially during the weekend preceding those 2 particular days that they're going to be out. And our burglaries sometimes tend to spike a little bit when these kids are out. So just just be observant. And again, please do not hesitate to give us a call or call 911 if you see any suspicious activity. Remember, no call is too small. Just let us make that determination if the call is an emergency or not. Every call is important to us. And that's about all that I have as it relates to that. And if you all have any questions for me that I can answer, then I'll be glad to take those questions. Officer
Rogers, I'd like to get your email address, if I may.
Yes, sir. I give it to you, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. Okay. It's Derrick. That's DERRICK .Rogers ROGERS at cityofsouthfultonga.gov. Now, I think I already do receive your newsletters monthly that you put out. So you should have me in your list of email addresses. But again, I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Another thing I would like to thank the chief and his team is addressing a longstanding issue that we've had on Research Center Atlanta Drive,
Yes, sir.
where a couple of weeks ago we had as many as 35 out there. And to my understanding, the chief had some mandates, and I haven't seen any out there the last 3 or 4 times.
Very good.
That's I'm really pleased about that. You know, we all get our pet peeves and the like. Um, Obviously, it's not a life safety thing, but it is important to the image of the corridor. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
I totally agree, and and I thank you for that. That's good to hear that you're seeing that difference, and we're going to continue to address that research center corridor, as well as the Publix Plaza where people like to continue to park in that fire lane and run inside of the stores and things of that sort. So we are addressing that issue as well.
All righty, are there any other questions for Officer Rogers? Well, thank you so much, Officer Rogers, and welcome back.
And well, thank you, Ms. Davis. It's really good to see you. And again, I'm happy to be back. And I look forward to working with you all. So I'm going to leave my email address in the chat before I leave this meeting. And again, you all have my phone number. So if you need me, give me a call.
All righty, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Is there anyone from the fire department?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chief Couch, and
Oh, hi, Chief Couch. How are you?
I'm fine. Nice to meet you, Miss Davis. Hello,
Nice to
everyone
meet
in the
you.
meeting. So what's going on in fire? Right now we're in the process of getting 3 new rescue units to try to better serve the community. So they're in the process. They should be coming in the day now. Also, we're in the process of getting our hazmat unit up so we can better serve definitely the food and industrial area. We try to get technical rescue teams and dive teams. Also, starting in April, we'll be starting our spring hydrant check. So you'll see a lot of the fire units in your neighborhoods checking the hydrants and flushing and painting. We also offer smoke alarms for the community. If anybody interested in getting smoke alarms for their home, at least up to 2, just come to a station, put a request in, and we'll be happy to provide one. Right now, we have at least 30 new recruits that's in recruit school at the present time. So they got to go through recruit training and EMT training. So it probably take them about at least a year to get done with that. Just like Captain Rogers said, for the 911 system, we having the same problem where we have to write the calls down, and so it's a slight delay, but not much. But we're working through that. I don't know if you guys familiar with our Camp Emerson program, where we try to get it's more of the for the females, the high school students. They join that program and learn to try to become firefighters. We try to get more females into our profession. We are in the process of getting a new fleet of equipment and new fire stations. But we're here to serve the community. Whatever you guys need from us, then let us know. We're here for you.
All righty. Are there any questions for Chief Couch?
Yes, I'd like to know, when does the outdoor burning ban go into effect?
So the outdoor burning ban will start May 1st. There's a ban. So April 30th will be your last day. So then May 1st, you have to call Georgia Burn in order to get a permit to burn after that. You want to keep everything contained. If you want to have your fire out that evening, can't be burning that night. Also, no organic material. Just most of the leaves and limbs and stuff like that you can burn.
And have a hose ready.
And have a hose ready. Definitely have a hose ready.
One thing I wanted to clarify with everyone is that 911 services come from Fulton County. So for instance, if your burglar alarm goes off, and they do have clarified instructions about registering your system, but say your alarm went off, it's going to notify your alarm provider. They're supposed to verify that there's an issue, and then they hand it off to whichever first responders group that is. Another thing that I experience is when you call the 911 with your cell phone, in some areas, it'll pick up a tower in Atlanta versus a tower in Fulton County. One thing that I've done is I put the 10-digit number for Fulton County in my phone, because when I dial 911, it goes to Atlanta, who's overburdened already, and then they have to transfer me.
Yes, we are experiencing that a lot, especially with some of the border municipalities where we get their calls and they'll get our calls, but that's what the 911 center should be screening those calls and sending it over to who it belongs to.
A lot of good information. Are there any other questions for Chief Couch? Well, thank you so much, Chief, for joining us. And if someone has any questions that I need to get to you, I will certainly do that.
All right, I would put my email address on the stream also. And thank you for having me.
All righty, thank you. Mr. Bailey, are you on the call?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
All righty, you are up.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. My name is Henry Bailey. I'm at 600 Peachtree Street, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, Troutman Pepper. I am here as counsel for the applicant on the rezoning project, which is a familiar project for you all. You saw it, I want to say 18 months or so ago. It's fronting on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Since that project has been rezoned, there's been an address assigned to 6550 Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Excuse me. The addresses in the application that we have, the rezoning application, are all off Chattahoochee, which is this private, sort of private-ish, public-ish drive that emanates off of Campbellton Road that comes up here. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you all able to see that? Let me zoom out.
Yes.
Let me zoom out a little bit so it's not so crazy looking. All right, so last year, I want to say August of 2022, I think it was, we brought to you all with Bridge Logistics a rezoning request for the property generally located in this area across the street from the Bosch facility. And that rezoning request was to rezone the property to industrial to allow for development of a warehouse. And the current project is very similar, except that now we're requesting to rezone adjacent property to that original request from 2022. And the reason for that request is to rezone to industrial and to also change the future land use map to industrial, so those two things are aligned for the same purposes, which is to build industrial warehouse in this general location where my cursor is and where the words project location are situated. I'm scrolling to the next page if I can. Let's see here. Computer's slow, give it a second. I am spooling. Give me 1 second here. At any rate, the next page shows the site plan that shows the delineation between the previous site and the current site. And the reason that's important is because the current proposed development is located partially on the property that was rezoned last year and partially on the current subject parcel. And you can see that here. So the red outline is the portion of the property that is being rezoned, that the rezoning request is about now, and the portion just north and west that abuts Fulton Industrial Boulevard is the portion that was rezoned in 2022, early 2023. All access to this site will be located off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, just like the previous rezoning request, and will respect all of the stream buffers and maintain existing vegetative buffers for visual screening purposes. And what we're looking at on this particular site are two separate warehouse buildings here that come in just less than 500,000 square feet in total. And that's really it. Again, the project the request is to rezone the property to industrial, along with a concurrent future land use map amendment to industrial to allow for those things to be aligned, which is the exact scenario on the property rezoned last year. And so with that said, as a part of this process, we have a couple of meetings coming up that I want to make sure that you all were aware of and that we invited you to and extended an invitation to you for. The first one is next Thursday, the 14th. We're having another public participation meeting. We're having a public participation meeting to do essentially the same thing we're doing now on Zoom or Teams. I can't remember which one it is now, to talk about the project and to have questions asked and answer those questions. Then on March 20th, we have Planning Commission, and that's important to note because I don't know if you all are aware of the mold issue at City Hall. Some of the issues related to that are related to location of the Planning Commission meeting, and the location has changed from where it normally is, which is in the back room, to Sandtown Recreation Center for a Planning Commission meeting on March the 20th. And then on April 9th, we have City Council. So I'm happy to take any questions you all might have and go from there.
Hi, I'm sorry, what are the times for those meetings?
6 p.m.
Thank you.
Looking at the map on the back side of it,
You need me to pull it up again?
yeah, will there be buffering? Because that's the back side of it, I think, comes closer to,
Significant
back,
buffer.
yeah, back
Significant
here.
buffer.
It is a significant buffer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because I know, if you think about that area, behind the Publix, there is a community that's coming. And then behind the apartments that have been built, you got that community, and that all of that is kind of gonna insulate us from having the warehouses come any closer to us. So this then is further away from us in that, and then the only exit will be off of Fulton Industrial.
The only entrance and exit will be on Fulton Industrial. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, I mean, you're building a warehouse, what type of business do you know what's gonna be in there?
No, at this point, that information is we don't know the answer to that question yet. We're obviously in negotiations, or at least trying to set it up so that we can be in negotiations with potential tenants. But this is a light industrial zoning, so there won't be anything like manufacturing or the emanating of loud noises or odors or smells or anything like that. So it's more along the lines of warehouse distribution type uses, light industrial type uses that we would be targeting.
And you said it was 500,000 square feet between the two?
Yes, ma'am. A little less than 500,000 square feet.
Give me a visual. Is that the size of a Walmart? Is that the size of a?
Eddie, you online?
Yes, sir, I am.
Can you answer
you
that
give-
question? What is give us for some perspective on what that looks like, what that could
So
be like?
Ms. Davis, if you could see Henry's screen where it says project location,
Uh-huh,
pan your vision a little bit or take a little bit look to the left. You see those two buildings across Fulton Industrial Boulevard with the white roofs on them?
uh-huh,
That'll be somewhat similar in size, man.
okay. Okay,
Yes. So another question, once you're finished, Ms. Davis.
I'm done.
Yeah. So in terms of traffic, are you looking for another median opening? What's the traffic study, decel lanes for that? I mean, it looks like you got some that may be back to back.
So that is a great question. During our initial planning purposes, we had already proposed a median opening there, as well as a decel lane into the property. And our intentions still remain as the same, sir. So we are still planning to do a decel lane and still planning to construct the median opening to access that park. And again, only off Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
Have you gone through GDOT already to request the median opening?
I'd have to circulate with our civil engineer on that. I believe initial conversations had been had. But we are right now going through the entitlement process. So that design aspect is taking its due course. It's a great question. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't have a better answer for you, but I'd have to confer with our civil engineer for that.
And generally speaking, that wouldn't happen until much later on down the line after the entitlements are secured.
No, I understand that, but I'm just thinking of just the traffic study in general. So, I mean, that's preliminary work just to be able to answer and facilitate those questions, because those will be asked eventually.
Maybe at the March 14th meeting, that may be something that you can be prepared to present to the community what DOT, the work that has been done with DOT. Because I know with a lot of major developments that we're doing within the community, DOT comes to the table when it has when it's a DRI project, direct regional impact. So
This project doesn't meet that threshold, though, Ms. Davis.
it doesn't?
It does not meet that threshold.
Okay.
It doesn't meet the threshold for the DRI, nor does it meet the threshold for the city's traffic study requirement. But even though it doesn't, we've still gone and taken this extra step to ensure that we ameliorate any traffic concerns that would result from the project being developed on this site.
However, it is a state route and you do have to go through GDOT to get any type of median opening. So
That's correct.
that is for sure.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, are there any other questions?
I think I see Ms. Marbury, Juanita Marbury has her hand up.
Yep, she does. I see it now.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to ask a question. I want to make sure I'm understanding him correctly. They're asking to build a property that they have no idea what they're going to put in the building, the size of a Walmart. Am I right? Is that, did I understand that? I'm just making sure I got an overview of what you're telling us tonight.
What I'm
going to build a building of 5,000 square feet. You have no idea what you're going to put in the building.
Well, it's not that we don't have any idea. It's that the exact end user has not been determined yet. But there's only so many types of end users that can go into the space because of the zoning that we're requesting, which are all light industrial uses. That's typically how these sort of developments are done. You build them and then you lease them out to tenants that are aligned with, one, your end game on the project, and two, the zoning that you secured through the city. And in this case, it's light industrial. So it's not that we don't know what's going to go into the building. So we just don't know who the exact tenant will be yet.
So we don't know who the tenant is going to be, but you do know what you're going to have in the building. So the question still remains. So we have no idea what we build in the building. We have no idea what we're going to have in the building. And the reason why you have so many questions tonight, because we've had so many problems and been overexposed to industrial. So we're hypersensitive to the industrial process.
Sure.
We want to make sure that it aligns with what the vision that we have for our city. Now, Fulton Industrial has so many industrial buildings that are absolutely vacant. So I'm just trying to understand.
I don't know about that stat. I think they're pretty
Just trying to
full.
understand of Harvey.
Yeah, Fulton Industrial,
Yeah,
I think the occupancy is pretty high.
So I just want to know, I'm just trying to get some understanding exactly why we will build a building from the ground. We have no idea what's going to be done with it, but maybe we will have more information on March 14th. Thank you, Henry.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
If I may, that's not uncommon. A number of times, developers will build a building not knowing who the tenant's going to be. For instance, Story Riverside, which is next to Sandtown Crossing, they've got three, I believe it's three commercial components that are coming, and they don't know yet who it will be. But in this case, since it's light industrial, we're in good shape. It's not pure industrial, and the types of, there's not going to be any manufacturing or anything there. So
That's kind of the way that when Pro Industries, when he came to the community, they ended up, they built the building and then got the tenants, and it was, I think USPS got something in there.
Yeah.
It's different tenants that are in there. It's nothing, no manufacturing, that kind of thing. But I know USPS has some type of facility, something in that building.
Excuse me.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Bailey?
Let me ask one. I just got on the call, but if this is light industrial, is there any way that the entrance could be on Fulton Industrial rather than Campbellton Road?
It's the entrance, the only ingress and egress, the only entrance and exit to this project is on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. There will be no access on off of Campbellton Road for this project.
Okay, because the road looks as if you enter from Campbellton Road.
No, ma'am, just on Fulton Industrial. I'll scroll down to the site plan. Let me show you. Can you see that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it in the
This is Fulton Industrial Boulevard right here, and this is our lone access point. I'll scroll out even farther so you can see that there's no access coming in here. This is a closed loop.
Okay, what I'm looking at, it looks as if the entrance is down the street from Zion Hill Church on Campbellton. So maybe that's, I don't have what you have.
No, ma'am, it's just on Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? All righty. Well, thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. I'll send you a link to the meeting for the March 14th public participation meeting so y'all can attend.
Okay, we'll post it on the website.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All righty. Thanks for coming.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
I know Councilman Grau and Councilman Gums are doing double duty today. So they were gonna try to join the call at different times, and I don't know if they have joined the call.
I'm here. This is Carmelita. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, you are up.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me. As you can hear from the updates from a lot of our city staff, we are growing by leaps and bounds. Our police department is growing as well as our fire department, which is one of the main reasons as to why we became a city for public safety. So I'm excited about the direction our city is going, but just want to give you all some quick updates. Enid Ranch, I don't know if many of you are familiar with the Enid Ranch property that is off of Enid Road. They will be actually launching their grand opening to the community, and that will be on March the 13th from 6 p.m. To 9 p.m. They will have tours, they will feed you, and we're going to have a good time. Also, too, they will be ending the night with the fireworks display. So we would love for the community to come out while they cut the ribbon and celebrate this wonderful 70-acre venue that has launched in our city. I know a lot of people are taking advantage of it. If you went to any of our senior events, it is a beautiful property. So we would love to have the community come out and support them. And that will be on Thursday, March the 13th at 6. Also, too, we were scheduled to have the roundabout intersection groundbreaking tomorrow, but the weather is going to be really terrible. So we have rescheduled the groundbreaking for the Butner Road and Union Road intersection. As you all know, it does connect District 2 and District 3, but a lot of us travel that roadway and it has been unsafe for quite some time. So this roundabout is definitely a needed. Again, it's a $3.8 million project for your taxpayer dollars to make sure that we're able to travel safely on the road. So that has been rescheduled to March the 28th at 10 a.m. March the 21st at 10 a.m. And we would love to have the community come out and support us on that as well. Some other stuff, just to let you know, the squatter bill did pass the House on March the 7th. We are hoping, and I haven't gotten an update as of yet, that the remaining of the squatter bill will pass the Senate today. After speaking with the senators there and the person that's sponsoring that bill, there is unanimous support in regards to the Squatter Reform Act, as they call it, which makes it a criminal activity and it doesn't turn into a civil offense. So our officers are able to react when someone is actually in your home illegally. They have 3 days to provide documentation that they live there, or they will be removed and arrested or fined. So this is a much needed issue. I know you all probably have saw the news story where it says about 19,000 homes that are owned in the metro area are owned by LLCs. That has become a problem, and a lot of the crime and incidents that are happening within our community are in these homes that are owned by these LLCs or investors. One of the things that the police department has been working on is actually sending cease and desist letters to those homes that have criminal activity or has someone has gotten arrested and things of that nature. So the city is taking a more active approach to trying to make sure that we address those squatters and those situations that are happening. Now, I can't say that is the easiest foolproof method because these people are very smart. I tell residents that squatters are organized a group. They actually are canvassing our community. So if you see something that's out of whack or it doesn't look right, please make sure you say something. Don't hold back, because this is a lot of people that are moving in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. So it's a lot actually going on behind the squatters. So hopefully this will address some of that and bring some added relief. So we'll get further updates on that. Also, too, Dr. Cornell West will be in the city of South Fulton on Sunday, March the 10th, and he will be speaking at New Life Presbyterian off of Old National Highway at 2 p.m. I will provide the flyer in regards to that, but he is coming and he's going to have a sacred conversation about faith in action. So we will share that. That is actually a very high profile individual coming into our city and sharing some of his wisdom. Also, too, let's see what else that I can tell you. As you know, we're really focusing on seniors and isolation and making sure that they're getting out of their homes and doing things. Of course, we want to continue to encourage seniors to attend the exercise classes that are held on Mondays at the Sandtown Recreational Center with the Guru apps. They start at 10:05. Well, excuse me, 9:55. And that the first one is for everyone. And then he has a culminating class after that for men. So the men of Sandtown need to go and work out with the Guru of Abs at the Sandtown Recreational Center at 11 a.m. on Mondays. And then also too, on March the 13th, again, another event if you are looking to meet some new friends, go hang out, or if you're looking for a life partner, we will be hosting a senior meet and greet, which is similar to a speed dating at the Centerwell Primary Care. That will be also off of Old National. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. We would love to get a Centerwell over on this side of our town, but this is a primary care medical center that is just specifically for seniors. And lastly, of course, April the 20th is Earth Day. The city will be hosting the Little Kendall Ray Earth Day Parade and Vendor Fair at 10. We would love to see a lot of these individuals, all 33 of these participants that's on this call, to either have a float representing the Sandtown community or just coming out and to support. We will be focusing on environmental friendly sustainability and ways that we can continue to improve our communities. I have a lot more to say, but other than that, I think you all can find that information on the city's webpage, or you can follow Councilwoman Rao and myself. I do believe District 1 has a groundbreaking as well. I don't know if Catherine is on the call, but they have a groundbreaking for the Enon, hold on one second, I have it here.
The Enon.
Okay, the Enid Bridge. Yeah. Oh, she's on here. So she can speak to that as well. But again, the city is doing extremely well. I think you will be pleased with the direction that we're going, and just continue to support our city, come out to the events, stay engaged, and get to know your council reps. And that's all I have. Thank you, Miss Debbie, for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Before Miss Councilman Rouse starts, Ivory, you have your hand up?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to bring to the attention of the group that someone is dumping piles of what looks like ground tree stumps on Enon Road, just south of Campree Parkway. I would like to know whether or not any other communities are experiencing this as well. I know I had discussed it with my councilwoman Gums, and she said that I think they were trying to get in contact with whomever was responsible for that. I would like to know from her if she has a status update as to what is happening. And also, I would like to know if anybody else is experiencing that as well. It's very, very unsightly. There are about 16 piles out there now. And yes, at one time they had a no dumping sign, and evidently that has been ignored. And it just seems to me that something needs to be done about it. It's, as I said before, it is very, very unsightly. And it takes away from coming into this little area here. And my other concern, and I have voiced it numerous times before, and that is that Vanderbilt Road is a very short street, approximately a half a mile. It is the primary route to get to Westlake High School. People come by here as if they're on the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I don't understand why there is nothing to slow down the traffic on this street when there are numerous things on Wallace Road. I go I travel on Wallace Road often, and I rarely ever see a car. So I don't understand how the decision is made in terms of putting, I don't know what you call those street things that people have to drive over in order to, slow down. They slow down or they drive over them. But I would just like to know what are the standards, what are the requirements to have that? It is a nuisance. It's very, very annoying. Sometimes the vehicles come by here as if, and particularly when they get in the middle of the street, which is which where my house is located, they are driving, I know, in excess of 60 miles an hour. I would say maybe between 60 and 80 miles an hour. It is absolutely an accident waiting to happen. And it's annoying. And I've been out here since 65 and 75. And I don't think I have to keep on putting up with that.
Okay.
I agree. I was going to say, go ahead.
So while we're talking about Van Diver, I think we've talked about this before. The city actually just did a speed study, I think even less than a year ago in regards to Van Diver. I will ask them to do another speed study, but the speed study that presented is from the data that was presented did not say that there was a speed issue on Van Diver Road. I can ask them to do it again.
Well, if you would ask the residents that live on Vanderbilt Road, I think that all of them would tell you that that definitely is. I don't know how
they're actually using strips to where people ride over to find out the speed that they're actually going. But again, I will request it and see if anything has changed. Van Diver again is one of those problem streets, a very short street. But the city did institute a traffic study. Now, if you're asking for speed bumps based off the traffic calming policy that we have in place, there has to be a petition of those residents on that particular street. So if you want to institute some speed bumps, I can partner you with Public Works and we can go about trying to see if that if it's enough signatures of the actual homeowners that want to have speed bumps placed on Van Diver Road. So that's one thing that we can do. As far as for Enid Road at Camp Creek, that has been an issue that we have been fighting for the city's existence. Pretty much trying to keep these people from dumping the shavings onto that particular location and property. We have had the owners clean it up. We have cited Greystone. We have cited the contractors as well, and just recently just cited Georgia Power actually for dumping their shavings on it. Right now, we're trying to figure out if they're going to be the ones to clean it up, and the city actually, if they have to do it, then the city will send them a bill. I understand it's very unsightly, but we have been working and addressing this issue. The owner is of that property. They are trying to develop it. Once it's developed, we probably won't have those issues. But right now, we're continuing to cite those major companies and those contractors that are putting those shavings. So they're actually cutting back the trees that are on Eden Road and they're putting them there. And the city has spent quite a bit of their own resources knocking down the piles and things of that nature because it is hard for us to catch them sometimes. 2 weeks ago, I stopped a contractor from actually dumping out there those same shavings. So it is an ongoing problem. The city is very aware of it and we are addressing it. Certainly it's probably not as fast as what we would all like it to be, but it is being addressed.
Well, the only thing I can say is that this has not been an ongoing problem since I have been out there. This is something that has occurred in the last few months. So I don't know why all of a sudden it is happening. But
Ms. Denson, I got emails that go back to 2017 of having to deal with this issue. So there might be the first time that the piles are like super, super high and it's just, you're seeing it, but this has always been an ongoing issue since we became a city and I've been addressing it ever since.
Well, I hope we can get some resolution because
I hope so as well.
Yeah.
Well, for the traffic calming, I put in the chat the petition and the information to request traffic calming.
Thank you.
If you'll send me an email, Harvey, I don't do the chat.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Gums.
No problem. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Councilman Rao, you're up. Is she there? Can y'all hear me?
I can.
She's
Okay.
muted.
Councilman Rao, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to thank Councilwoman Gov for doing a very thorough update. She covered a lot. So I'll focus on some things she may not have or was prior to me jumping on the call. As she noted, we do have a groundbreaking for the Enid Road Bridge on the 15th of this month. So you've probably seen the covered signs that are talking about the detour to reroute Wallace Road. The road is anticipated. It will be closed at the very last minute. So we'll keep it open as much as we can. The estimated time for the project is estimated at 3 months. That was the information I was provided by Public Works, but they'll try to keep it open until they actually have to install the culvert on Enid Road. So this is the bridge closest to Camilton Road that if you've driven that road, it has a dip in it. In addition, you've seen repaving across the area. The most recent areas being paved are Baker's Ferry Road. We had Cascade Manor and Cascade Glen subdivisions recently paved. There is a schedule for the repaving, and it's of course contingent on weather conditions. 2 other subdivisions that are scheduled to happen between now and April, Woodside Hills and Cambridge Commons are the next schedule. If you're not aware, the Public Works has a very good website that you can get the status on any Public Works project. I think there are well over 100 active projects across the entire city. So if you want to find out the status, they update that in pretty much in a real-time basis about what's going on with the projects. In addition, on last week, the Development Authority of Fulton County held a open house where they're highlighting 15 acres of property that's slated for redevelopment along Fulton Industrial. Those properties are within the city limits of the city of South Fulton. And so there are plans to redevelop pretty much at the I-20 interchange, everything to the left that had previously been problem properties. So by June of this year, the old hotel, the Valero, McDonald's, all that is scheduled to be demolished. And then we'll begin the efforts on redevelopment. The RFI, the request for information for developers to propose what might be compatible uses in the area. I think it closed on today. And so just stay tuned. We're looking forward to the redevelopment of Fulton Industrial. In addition, one of the roads I did leave off of the repaving that's currently underway is Research Drive along the Cascade Road corridor. So those are some projects that we currently have underway. I also want to make you aware that I have a town hall, so I don't want to give everything away. We have a town hall meeting on next week on Wednesday, the 13th at 6 p.m. at the Sandtown Rec Center. It was sent out in my newsletter and it's also on my Facebook page. I'm asking you to register. Of course, we won't turn anybody away, but we are having refreshments, so I wanted to have an accurate head count. And I don't want to reiterate things that were covered by Councilwoman Gums, but if you have any additional questions at this time, I'll be more than happy to take your questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Councilwoman Rao? I tell you what, Woodside Hills will be happy to hear that you are paving. They're getting paving on the street.
I'm sure.
Absolutely, because they feel like they are stepchildren And so it is, I'm happy to hear that.
Well, this is what I'll say just in general. You know, many of these roads have never been paved. Really, I think the city has done a yeoman's job of trying to cover a lot of ground in really just a few years. So really, I hope nobody feels that way. We have a number of subdivisions. I think the city has well over 700 subdivisions across this entire city. And so, every year the Public Works has in the city has been allocating funds along with the T-SPLOST money, in addition to applying for grants to cover as much ground as we can. And so, and we're going to continue to do that. So it's unfortunate people felt that way, but we're dealing with sometimes 20 and 30 years worth of no attention. So I'll leave it right there.
I agree. Any other questions or any questions of Councilman Rao? Well, thank you both for joining. I know you guys are doing double duty today, this evening, so thank you for joining us. It's a lot of good things going on in the city.
Yes,
and yeah, a lot of good things. Marilyn, do you have anything to add about membership or anything?
No, I just want to thank everybody for being here. Want to thank everybody who have paid dues for paying dues. If it's only one person, it's $25. If it's a family, it's $45, and if it's a community, it's $50. And this money goes toward us paying for our registration with the Secretary of State, for our internet, for our calling post, and for our post office box. And as I said, we thank you and appreciate you for sending in dues, because we always need them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Harvey, do you have anything to add?
No, not at this time. I would just encourage people to go to our website, www.sandtown.org, and sign up to be on our email distribution list. Ideally, for the councilwomen, you can go to the city's website to sign up for their newsletter, but if you're on our distribution, you'll get it as well.
Okay.
And you can also pay your membership online through PayPal, their secure function on our website as well.
Okay.
And, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
And if you don't want to pay by PayPal, you can send it to our post office box. It has the same name, the Sandtown Community Association Incorporated. Post office box 311307. That's post office box 311307, Atlanta, Georgia 31131-1307.
Well, thank you for that, because I got 31137 at the bottom of my agenda, so I will correct that.
311
311-307. Wait a minute, hold on. No, the zip code is 31131.
Right.
Okay.
Or you can use 30331, and it'll get to the same post office down there on Fairburn Road.
Oh, okay. All right. I will update, but I do have that information at the bottom of the agenda for everybody.
Good.
Well, with that, it is 7:53. If there are no other questions or comments, I want to thank all of you who joined us today. And we look forward to having you join us next month. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful March, and we'll see you in April. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.